Chapter 299, Blue Tears just dropped. I don't even want to waste any time. We're just gonna get straight into it. We open with Munchen City versus Barcha. The game is over. Barcha has won. Batra and Otoya are going crazy. They have a little duo tower. Reo and Nagi are looking distraught. More so Reo. And, you know, keep an eye on Reo this chapter. Why? It only gets worse. We see Nanase's reaction. He's shocked he made it. Everyone's shocked he made it. I don't know if there's a single person that isn't shocked he made it. Raichi, he's of course doing his yelling, even though... I don't know, did Raichi really do all that? But you guys tell me. Zentatsu's in. I'm kind of glad Zentatsu's in because I feel like he's gotten a lot of shine in episode Nagi, but since the Team V match, we haven't seen him do a lot here. I'm hoping that we can turn around for that. Kiora, he's being nonchalant, and you know, I've seen some people be like, oh, Kiora hasn't done shit. He doesn't deserve to be in the top 23. You know, I think we're forgetting like a lot of things about Kiora. Like, not only was he a threat in episode Nagi to a degree, obviously he lost, but in this main series, he's literally the reason Kaiser got his redeeming goal in the PXG match. Like, he was the defining factor of that goal, and it is the best goal in the series. You could fight me on that, and Kiora was a pivotal part in it. So is that enough to warrant him being in the top 23? In my opinion, you know, I think there at least should be a conversation. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. I just think there should be a conversation to be had. That's all I'm trying to say. We see Tokomitsu. He's number 25, and he's like, yes, yes. Oh my god, you guys. I think it was my very first video where I called out Tokomitsu for being all sad and how happy I was because of how fucking stupid he's been acting in this series. You deserve this. I'm glad you're gone, Tokomitsu. Nobody loves you. Nobody. And we see the U20 guys, they all suck. You know, I really feel bad for this. I don't even know how to say his name. Nioi? Like, Neo? I'm gonna call him Neo. I feel really bad for this Neo dude because this chapter literally dropped on his birthday. Like, can you imagine that you figure out that you get kicked out of Blue Lock, like the place of your dreams, on your birthday? I would be so fucking upset, dude. And to make matters worse, he was already on the U20 team and he just got bitched by a bunch of like kids younger than him. I don't know. I think if I was in his shoes, I would it'd be over for me. I'd get a rope. Yeah, no, whole 9 yards. That shit is, I'm done. And we see the entire Blue Lock ranking. We see Nagi with the 24 million salary, of course. We see Tokomitsu, Hayate, Neo, Darai, Hiragi. Hiragi was a tarot card, dude. I kind of expected that he would come back in the main series at some point because he had such an important role in episode Nagi, being the person who literally foreshadowed Nagi's quote-unquote death. We get the other Wanama brother. So both of the Wanama brothers are out. Chigiri is breathing his biggest sigh of relief. I know that much. Himezu's out, Haji's out, Cho's out, Wakatsuki's out. I'm being so free. I don't even know who Wakatsuki is. Actually, no, you and me, come with me. We're gonna do a little Google search together. Wakatsuki Blue Lock. Oh, this is the Ibex dude. Yeah, no, I don't give a shit about it. Kitsune Zato, the dude that's beefing with Batra a little bit. Nishioka, the Amori, wait, no. Was it the Messi's Amori or Amori's Messi? One of those. He had like a really crazy title. Yeah, no, Messi is like rolling in his theoretical grave right now. This kid, 3 million salary, tied with the GOAT Igarashi. So low-key, two GOATs kind of tied together. That's kind of impressive. Igarashi, his whole purpose was like getting out of the temple, and like that just didn't happen. Literally, we go to the next page, we can see Igarashi looking, and he is crying. Like, no, 3 million is a solid salary though, right? Like, oh no, let's Google 3 million yen to USD, $21,000. Oh nah. Yeah, no, you're going back to the temple, boy. You're sweeping those floors forever. I think Nagi's gonna make more at fucking McDonald's than you do playing for your club, bro. What the fuck? Ego pops on screen. He says, this concludes the final salary auction announcement. Those of you not selected as the top 23 players are no longer needed in Blue Lock. So, fuck off. And then we see the losers gate open. I don't even think we've seen this thing since the Kunigami wildcard situation. So it's kind of like interesting seeing it again. And Asagi, he's saying, he's like, please wait, Ego-san, why didn't Nagi make it? And Ego's glancing. He couldn't prove himself in a match. There have been times when he showed us he can shine, but he's too inconsistent. This salary is appropriate for a player of his quality. That's all there is to it. And Asagi, he's tweaking and he doesn't really understand. It's like, but Nagi has talent. And Reo butts in. Do it again. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And And Asagi's surprised. He's saying Reo. And Reo goes on. The whole world acknowledges his abilities. Sometimes he's off, but there are miraculous plays only Nagi can make. He's obviously a genius. Isn't it a waste to just let him disappear here? And Nagi, he's all curled up in like a little ball. I'm not even sure what to make of it. Is he crying? Like, what's going on down there? So you can't run the calculations or shut up and get a grip. This isn't school, you sheltered dimwit. Didn't I say at the start that this is a laboratory for creating the world's best? And Reo's shocked. And what the hell have you been going on about? He's a genius? Is that a joke? The results just now were clear enough. Seishiro Nagi's talent has withered away. Nagi, he's still down there all beat up. And Reo doesn't even know what to make of this. Huh? Talent isn't the power to believe in your abilities. It's the power to believe in and then prove your abilities. But talent changes depending on one's surroundings and mental state. Friends, rivals, goals, and emotions can all increase or decrease talent. And sometimes you get results that surpass your talent. Seishiro Nagi's wild feint chain in the third match was an example of that. In that moment, he unexpectedly proved he could produce results beyond his talent. And you were deluded enough to think that was your true power. And the world demanded that from Seishiro Nagi as well. What you guys should have done then was to analyze the fact that you got a result beyond his talent. But the biggest mistake was letting that goal convince Seishiro Nagi that he'd achieve his dream of defeating Asagi Yoichi. Do you know the biggest cause of talent withering up? Loss of hope, despair, fear? And we see Baro, Igarashi, Asagi, everyone's looking on. We even see Nanase and Hiyori looking on as well. We get glimpses of the social media posts calling Nagi one of the best players, saying that he needs to be on Real. But no, the things that crush talent the most is satisfaction. He still didn't really have what it takes to beat Asagi Yoichi. And we see Ego hitting this insane Aizen looking ass pose, him pushing up the glasses, and a sick double thread. He's getting aura from saying this shit, man. But he just happened to win. His desire was released, and an animal with a full stomach forgets to hunt. He literally sounds like that fucking lion meme. No, I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the PG kid-friendly ones. And Ego saying that fire will not return. In that match, he should have tried to prevail on his own, no matter how painful it was, even if he'd lost. He should have kept the fire of his ego burning strong. But that choice to team up killed Seishiro Nagi's talent. It was already withered up then. His talent will never blossom again, but you continue to water it and believe otherwise, Reo Mikage. And see, this is what fucks me up, because, you know, I said in a couple of my past videos that Nagi going on his downfall isn't Reo's fault. I said it was Nagi's fault, but now seeing what Ego is saying, like, it's so hard because look, you can literally see my boy crying. Like, Ego, chill out. You're literally making him cry. Like, why? Like, Reo doesn't deserve this. Reo's been putting in work, but I understand what Ego is saying because it is true. If Reo was just a little harder on Nagi, things could have changed. So it's just so hard. And on the next page, Ego just keeps tearing into him. In the end, Seishiro Nagi, you spoke of being the world's best, but you couldn't find a fire beyond the dream to defeat Yoichi Asagi. And Reo's tweaking, he's saying stop. And then Ego, he just keeps going, he ignores it. You were satisfied, right? That's why you were afraid of losing the ones around you, no? And Reo, he's full on sobbing. Stop it, please. And Ego, he's relentless. Shut up. This is Blue Lock. I only need crazy bastards who won't be satisfied until they're the world's best. Another Ego double spread. Normies who are satisfied with less than that. Please go home, Seishiro Nagi. And Nagi's still on the floor. Asagi's shocked. And Reo, he's a mess. I feel so bad for my boy. And in the final page, Nagi finally looks up. Reo looks over all teary-eyed. And with a blank face, Nagi begins to speak. This chapter, oh my god. To say it got me emotional would be an understatement, because like Reo is one of my favorite characters. I know people always discount Reo as being like, oh, he's just Nagi's little fuck buddy, you know, he's not really good on his own. I feel like this match more than anything has proved that Reo is a worthy fighter. He's just someone that wants to rise to the top with his best friend, but his best friend just really isn't capable of doing that on his own. He's not capable of fighting on his own, so they can't fight at their best together. That's just how it is. I don't know, seeing Reo like this, I feel more bad for Reo than I do Nagi, because Nagi, he really does deserve this, but Reo, like, that's his best friend, man. Come on. And Ego, like, all of Ego's sayings this entire chapter, they're right. I feel like anyone that's going to try and say like, oh, Ego was too harsh, like he didn't need to say anything that he just said, like they're objectively wrong. Like he could have said it in a nicer way, sure, but that's just not the Blue Lock spirit. And everything he said was right in a fundamental sense, so I feel like it's all okay. What I'm really curious about is Asagi's perception explanation of all this, because if we go back to the beginning of the chapter, Asagi is quite literally the very first person to question the decision why Nagi didn't make it. Asagi is someone that respects Nagi as a friend and as a player, but at the same time, Asagi also did not know of Nagi's goals, at least not in their entirety. So when Ego reveals that Nagi felt satisfied after quote-unquote beating Asagi through that fluke, we can see Asagi is visibly shocked. He didn't really understand the depth of Nagi's ego until this very point. So I wouldn't be surprised if after hearing all this, Asagi actually becomes disappointed in Nagi. In fact, I sort of expect it. Obviously, he's gonna be nice to him, but I think Asagi's going to be someone that genuinely believes Nagi deserved to get kicked out. And it further spurs on this idea and theory that people generally have. Asagi really is just a mini ego. Like, sure, he doesn't have all the ideas instilled in him yet, but as Ego continues to teach, Asagi takes it all in completely. As for Nagi himself, like, what more can we say? Like, what more can we say about this kid that we haven't already? We've had to deal with the knowledge for like 2 weeks now that Nagi is just out of here, that he's washed. And that's not even including the match itself where we've seen him play as a completely washed player. I am kind of surprised that Nagi is still very nonchalant about this. Part of me really thought the title Blue Tears was going to apply to Nagi this chapter, that we would have finally seen him have a little breakdown. But I think it is fitting that the breakdown was associated with Reo instead. And I'm really interested in what Nagi's gonna have to say. Obviously, I think he's gonna reassure Reo to some degree and tell him to keep on going, but I wonder if Nagi finally now at this point is going to come to terms and realize the reality of his talent, of his ego. Think about where we started in Blue Lock with Nagi. We have to go back to episode Nagi, and we can see that Nagi quite literally makes these brazen claims thinking that he's the best in the world, that he could easily make the final goal in the World Cup. But now imagine he says, I deserve this. I understand why this has happened. That would be phenomenal character development for Nagi, and he's kind of earned it. I can completely see why Nagi would be able to say something like that right now, because he's already had so many epiphanies and realizations about what he needs to do, and in the end, he's still fucked up and he knows it. I really do think, if you ask me, that Nagi is going to tell Reo that he deserves this. This outcome is something that was inevitable, and on one hand, it's going to be kind of cathartic hearing that from him, a prodigy who always thought he was on top of the world, but on another hand, like, Nagi is such a beloved character. I don't know if I'm ready to say goodbye to him like this yet. Of course, last week I had my video explaining how I believe Nagi's gonna come back, and even with this chapter, I think it still applies, but man, this is just brutal. I really don't know, like, what to make of this. I'm kind of distraught for so many reasons. Seeing Reo cry and tear up ripped out my heart, and Ego being absolutely ruthless, and Nagi now having his final words. It's all just culminating into what can only be an insane chapter 300. Yes, we're on chapter 300 next week. Isn't that fucking insane? And I think it's even crazier that we're coming into chapter 300 off one of the best off-pitch chapters. Outside of the field, I think this might be one of, if not the best chapter we've ever gotten of Blue Lock. But yeah, that's all I have for now. Make sure you check out my last week's video theorizing how Nagi's going to come back, because it is a really strong theory that I still believe can genuinely happen. And of course, if you liked the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. See ya.